Hello, ladies.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
During the month of May, our sermon series is focusing on women, more specifically, the contemporary woman. And as you know, the woman of the 21st century is very complex and involved in many different activities and is connected in different ways. She is a wife, a sister, a daughter, a mother-in-law, and she's gone through many transformations over the years. And let's face it, ladies, society has placed certain expectations on women today. So that leaves many questions and doubts and many times, many things that go unanswered. How can a woman live up to these expectations? How can she be pulled in all directions without being pulled apart? And what about a godly woman? Are there different standards and expectations for the godly woman? These are some of the questions we hope to gain more perspective on this month. So thank you for agreeing to be part of this video. I think as we get started here, if you guys could introduce yourselves and give our viewers a snapshot of your immediate family members and your career.
Okay. I'm Becky, and my immediate family is my husband and I. We have two children, Lindsay and Brandon, and they're both grown with children. So I've also got an extended family of grandchildren. We've also got a dog and a cat, Tallulah and Davy.
And your career.
My career, yeah. My career is, right now, I'm a registered nurse at a recovery room at JCMG.
And I'm Lisa. And my immediate family is my husband, Adam, and we have two kids, Sibley and Finn, 5.5 and 2.5. Career, I've recently made a transition to the state and an administrative role. Before that, I was a director at a not-for-profit, and before that, I was a lawyer. So my career's kind of taken all sorts of turns.
I'm Karen. My husband Jim and I have been married almost 10 years. We have 3 children, Jacob, who will be 8, Sarah, who will be 6, and Lauren, who just turned 4. And right now my career is staying home with the kids. I did work when Jacob was little and have transitioned to staying at home. So.
Okay. And I'm Bree. My immediate family is me and my 2 furry children. I have 2 dogs. I don't treat them like children though, they're dogs. But my career, I teach full-time at Lynn State, and I also teach a night class at Columbia College.
I just want to get your thoughts on a few things. Our society over the years, you can kind of see this as history has gone. You're not women of the 50s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today there's all kinds of everything from fashion to what kind of car we drive to what kind of home we keep. There's all these expectations that were placed on women over the years. Can you kind of describe some of that and maybe some of the shifting expectations that are put on women today? How has that transitioned over the years?
I don't really feel like I don't feel like we lost any expectations. I think they just piled them all on.
Yes.
So I think that expectation that you were the homemaker and that you took care of I think that's still there, and then they threw on the career and now you're supposed to be good at all of it instead of picking
But not just good.
perfect.
Perfect.
So are these expectations that society has made you kind of think of your own expectations, or is it something that is really just from you, or is it the basis of that is from society?
I think we've internalized what we think society expects of us. I don't know if it's really, because from talking about it, it sounds like we really all realize how ridiculous those expectations are, yet we all have internalized them to some degree despite that.
Well, what are some of the bad things that can happen from trying to live up to some of these expectations? What are some of the bad results of that?
I think the stress can make you snap. And then instead of doing something, moderately well, you fly off the handle and it hurts the people around you instead of helping them.
And I think you're focused on the wrong things. You're focused on, this ideal that you have in your head instead of focusing on what's important and what matters most as far as, with relationships and those kinds of things.
I sometimes feel like I'm missing out on things because I'm so worried about things that really don't matter. The laundry being done, the house being
Right.
clean, and that everything is always perfect, that I lose patience with the kids, or I'm not actually just enjoying the little moments because I'm so worried about the stuff that doesn't
And I
matter.
think that's where our scripture comes in today, that I've had to reflect on time after time, is that all the fruit that's not, or all the grapes that aren't, all the vines that aren't producing fruit, all the branches that aren't producing fruit, get rid of them. Those things in my life that weren't producing fruit, I've had to just say they're not a part of my life anymore, and it's okay. You just have to, I think we talked about prioritizing, what's really important, and you guys all touched on that. And for me, I've had to throw a lot of trash out of my life to be able to be fruitful. And whenever Scott talks about the fruits of the Spirit, I always feel like, I'm that little grape like this. But I know that, through the church, we strengthen each other, and the church is part of that branch, or part of that vine of being renewed.
When you make a choice to live up to God's expectations and pursue a life of holiness and godliness, how does that make you? Does it make you feel connected? Does it make you feel like you're in line? Does it make you feel, or how does that make you feel?
Kyle, when you were asking the question, I thought of two things. Both incredibly invigorating and terrifying at the same time, because there's a release that comes with that, to be able to focus on what's important and that connectedness. But then also the scary part is, if you acknowledge that's what you should be doing, then there are consequences for not doing that. Or there's, once you realize that, then there's that expectation, and so if you're failing.
There's a responsibility in it.
Yes, exactly.
And accountability
Yes.
in being.
But there's also relief, as I talked earlier about the second half of our passage for today, where it talks about, God is with you while you're doing it, and He's pruning our branches and helping us. And so, you don't have to do it by yourself, that He will help you do it. And so there's some comfort in that, if you can kind of keep your eye on that and remember that I don't have to do this by myself. I have God when I read His Word, and I have all of these great people that He has connected me with in the church and in my family and in the community to help me figure it out.
I think it's hard to ask for help, though. I mean, even of God. I mean, it's hard to kind of come to that realization that you can't do it alone. I think we all want to be sort of independent and be able to do it all.
And that's kind of some of those society expectations too. I think that you should be able to do everything. If somebody asks you to do something, you should be able to do it.
Acknowledging you can't's hard.
Yeah. So as we're finishing up the video here, you touched on that, staying connected with family and friends and everything, coworkers. What are some practical ways that maybe you can give our viewers something that they can stay connected with all the different aspects in their lives?
Really on the more superficial level, just kind of keeping that little bit of contact, the hi, hello here and there. Social media, Facebook. I check my Facebook at least 5 times a day, and I'm seeing what people I know are up to, and I occasionally post. And so for a nice superficial kind of what's going on with everybody, but when it comes down to, reconnecting, making that hour-long phone call and just finding time to say, hey, I haven't talked to so-and-so for a while.
Texting versus you try to have a phone conversation.
And I think making sure that all of those people that are important to us know that the door is always open and the phone line is always there, so that even if, somebody has an issue, they know they can pick up their phone and they can call me, and I may say, hey, you know what, it's not a good time right now, but I'll call you back when it's quieter, or whatever. As long as the people that you want to connect with know that they can always, and vice versa, that they can always count on you.
Well, and making sure we talked about that there are those big moments where you really connect with people and you make them a priority and you find time. But, when one of those moments come up, and my example had been, losing a family member, that when those moments come up, you drop everything.
Right.
You make those people in your life a priority and make sure that they understand they're a priority. You may not be able to do that every day or every month, but when it's important that you do.
And I think for couples, you know, whether they have kids or don't have kids, just taking the time, however often you want to decide, to have just couple time, you know, whether it's going out to dinner or, you know, whatever, just to show that person that they're important to you and you're going to take the time to be there, you know, for
And
them.
on that same train of thought, Brad and I pray together. It took us a long time to get comfortable doing that. But I woke him up one night and I said, we need to pray together because we're arguing way too much. And this was about 18 years ago. And now we pray before we go to sleep together. And I think that that is another connection, is that whenever you say, I'll be thinking about you this week, you're in my prayer. I was talking to Tammy, Kyle's Tammy, and she was talking about how that she used to get cards from her grandmother. And she got tears in her eyes, and she said, I remember every card and every letter that she sent, and I keep them. And we were talking about starting a card ministry. You know, all those kind of little things that maybe take 10 minutes a week that we could do to stay connected.
Well, you certainly have shed some light on this subject, and we have so much more to talk about. There's going to be several more videos throughout the month of May, and thank you, ladies, for your wisdom, for opening up a little bit of your lives to us. We appreciate it, and God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.